opportunity.
All right, everybody, we are back. Part two of our conversation, and I take full blame for it. I switched the microphone that I was using during the broadcast, so it stopped recording. So that's what happened. So you know what? Learn something new every day in regards to that. So if you're using Get Vocal, if you're recording, do not switch your microphone. You're gonna be in big trouble. So
Mhm.
getting back to our conversation about LeBron and NBA, was was the NBA, in your opinion, naive, not thinking that this would come up?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, when you get in bed with a place such as China, because Hollywood has learned that as well. Uh, in Hollywood, they've had to learn to walk a fine line because that this kind of stuff could happen. So to think that they were so bulletproof that it couldn't happen was definitely naive on their part. It was going to happen eventually, one way or the other.
I just think Adam Silver is a little. He's recognized as probably the best commissioner of all sports, and it's going. How did you not think this guy? Look at all the protests that are going on in Hong Kong, and and you know what, Daryl Morley. If he said it, but someone, if he didn't say it, someone else probably would have.
Right.
But I guess, go ahead.
And I was going to just say, I was going to say that it came out today that Adam Silver said that China had asked him to fire him, and he said it was never going to happen. They said we're not going to even censure him in any kind of way. So
Wow.
yeah,
So do we think that there'll be any games in future in in China?
I think ultimately so. I think what's going to end up happening is on some level they'll through back channels or whatnot they'll work it out to where everything it will be fine. But I mean, I understand China. Like their whole thing is, you know, they want the respect that they feel like they deserve, and I understand where they're coming from. We're gonna do business with you, but you're not gonna talk about us while you're doing business. So it makes sense from
Well,
their
happy,
point of view. I don't agree, obviously, with China, but you
happy work week is right. Where I agree with you, Kiana. It's all about the money, and the money will continue to flow. So,
know.
so I think, and it's no different than like NBA is not different than many worldwide companies that do business with China.
Yeah, they said they've lost millions of dollars because of this.
You know, like, so it will be interesting to see where this story progresses to next. Uh, it's very interesting how no other players are saying a thing. I wonder if the gag order has been put on by the commissioner.
Well, I think it is somewhat the gag order, but plus they see what has happened, so they're not. They said that just the Lakers alone, players have lost over $1 million apiece. So that I'm talking about those that had direct business ties over there.
Do you think that this is a social justice issue, or is it a capitalism issue, or both?
I think it's both. I think it's both, but you know, I I'm from the standpoint of black people holding their own nuts, and it's like, you know what, we have to fight for ourselves, and it's sad and whatever in Hong Kong, but black folks got to fight for ourselves. And I just love how, why are we the only group that has to speak out for everybody? They don't ask no other group to do that. I've never heard the handicap is not asked to speak out. The LGBT isn't asked to speak out. But the trans ain't. Only black people have to speak out about everybody. Miss me with that.
Hmm. The oppression continues.
Yeah,
Really,
it's
really.
like you got to carry the water for everybody. No, let's carry the water for ourselves. you know. So yeah, I
LeBron.
think it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. Like, I think the NBA cannot wait for Tuesday soon enough, the start of the season, especially
I
the.
can't wait.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, LA is going to be the place to be for most of the season, but especially on Tuesday night, because you know who's playing on Tuesday night.
The only team in LA, the Lakers, against some, I don't know who these guys are. Some
The
team.
Clips.
I never heard of them. There's only one team in Los Angeles.
Okay. Well, I hope that I don't get anyone from the Clips coming on here and trying to shoot you down, brother.
I would tell them
Ah,
if I met Doc Rivers in person, I would tell him that to his face. I respect you. I respect him and his players. They're wonderful players, and and all of that. And he's a great coach. But there's only one team in LA. That will never change.
before we move on to our other conversation piece
Mhm,
tonight, what does this incident say about social justice, sports, and the black athlete?
mhm. Um, it's I don't know. Like I feel like there's a lot of code speak in this, and you hear these people who are complaining about people speaking up about human, human rights here, and then they're trying to have um, this fake love for Hong Kong. You know what I mean? Like you've never heard them speak up, but now it's a lot of code speak. What they're basically saying is, some people don't like the stances that some people have had when it comes to President Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is their way of defending him and trying to say that there's some kind of hypocritical thing going on. Uh, excuse me. So social justice, you know, is they're trying to make it a dirty word like liberal, like remember, I think it was like in the 80s mainly, liberal became like this dirty word and it still stayed
Yes.
that.
Yep.
And then you have now a social justice warrior is SJW is a dirty word. And so this goes along with that, so if you speak up for social justice, you're the bad person somehow. Makes absolutely no sense.
No, it doesn't at all. Happy work week, Danny. Keep on, we know you're here. If you have any comments, please share them with us because we love to keep the conversation going. We're gonna move on to I guess, the other story. Big Bad Brad is in the room. Welcome,
Brad,
Bad Brad. How you doing? Good to see you, my brother.
you know what?
Uh,
I was gonna call myself Big Bad Kinte, but then Brad came along, so I can't now. Yeah,
he,
I don't want to get
he's too.
sued.
Ah, I don't think he's that. I don't think that's his style. I don't think that's a style. Want to shout out
Life coach.
on the Facebook Live platform, Tiffany Rochelle. Hello, Tiffany. How things doing? Long time, but I am keeping up with you on IG, and you're doing some, as always, some outstanding stuff, especially for women empowerment. So keep up the outstanding work. We're gonna flip on to our second conversation piece. This one, wow. Where to start with this one? So again, unless you've had your head in the sand, there's been a trial. Well, the trial's finished, but there was a trial recently. Happy work with we. You are still life coach Kinte, though. There we go.
That's right.
And Brad says, "Oh, whatever." The trial of Botham Jean. And long story short, he was a police officer. He was in his apartment one evening, and well, I don't know if it was his next door neighbor or someone who lives in the apartment building came in
Apartment complex.
and
Yeah. I don't think he was a
yeah,
police officer though.
yeah, and came in and to this a room, opened up the door, said, this is not my place, or thought it was her place, and saw a man in there, and she shot him. Thought he was an intruder. So, long story short, trial went on. She was convicted of murder, 10-year sentence, which is one point of contention with a number of people. Then this happened. So, let me bring this up on the screen share. This has been quite another controversial piece.
You're on. Oh, okay, you're on mute. By the way.
as a person, and I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please? Yes.
So I don't know what got more heat. The going back here, I don't know what got more heat, the 10-year sentence or that.
Okay, let me first off by saying this is actually the first time I've seen that video.
Oh wow.
Um, I'm, I'm, people were telling me about that. That's what happened, and people, and I had opportunities to see it, but I was so angry, I did not want to look at it. I knew it happened, but I didn't want to see it visually. So that shows you how much I love you, Dr. Vibe. I actually sat through that. Uh,
Okay.
and
I
I
could
got
stop you beforehand if you didn't mind me showing it.
no, it's fine. Let me first start off by saying all those people who love me out there, whether it be my family, future wife, um, people in this room, if I unfortunately become murdered and any of y'all in any way hug my murderer, if you think Poltergeist was bad, I promise you, I will haunt you in the worst way possible. If someone kills me, no love, no forgiveness, no retribution. I mean, only retribution is what I want. I want you to do a drive by with my ashes in your car. Okay. That's what I want. So that makes me want to throw up that you could hug the murderer of your brother and, someone who is remorseless. She has no remorse. She, if you remember that her background is very questionable about how she feels about black people as well. They tried to scrub all of her social media, but they still were able to find stuff. This is a horrible person who did a horrible thing, and murder is an unforgivable sin. Am I correct? I believe so, and especially in this case. And we really don't know everything that happened. Uh, you know, what the total motives were and whatnot. But the last thing, it's one thing to forgive, and that's sketchy, but to hug the murderer of your brother is disgusting. And, you know, it just, when I heard that it happened, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Like, huh? You know, um, yeah, it was one of the worst moments in the history of bad moments.
So, and this, I think this is one of the trials that is going to stand out in American history for a
Right,
number of reasons. First of all, how this killing happened,
right. Horrible.
right? How do you not know where, unless, and again, you're in, and well, that's a whole other conversation, where you know where you're living or not, etc. Second of all, the 10 years.
Right,
Third of all, the hug.
right.
And,
And
and
the
I'm going
judge.
and I'm trying to pull up that also, that
Oh,
video
okay.
too, of the judge hugging also. There are so many dynamics about this. And then also one of the people who testified in the trial was shot and killed a few weeks ago.
Yeah. This kid,
There's so many different dynamics, and I guess another interesting thing, it happened in Texas.
in Texas, good old Texas.
You know, I just, I don't know, the uh, this is America, as that song goes, but yeah, I think that this is really, really, really interesting, how all the dynamics of this trial, forgiveness. Now that's a love. That's, I know it's a level of forgiveness that most people of color would not get to.
Right. Once again, the only thing I could do is reiterate: don't forgive my killer. If I, God forbid, if I ever murdered. I'm telling y'all right now, so you don't have to wonder. Because this is what they always say. This is how he would have liked it. From hearing me, Kinte would not like it. So miss me with that crap about Kinte. This is what Kinte would want. No, this is not what Kinte want. Kinte was a very vengeful person. Kinte Kinte loves revenge, and he wants revenge.
So
So
so let me ask: if you had a chance to speak to Botham John's son, who did the hugging,
that
and
was his brother, right?
his brother, yeah,
Right.
I think it's a younger brother, and the judge, what would you say to them if you had a one-on-one with them?
What I would say to the judge would be different than what I would say to the brother. I don't think I would even say anything to the brother because what can you say, to that, right? So I don't think I would even talk to him. The judge, on the other hand, needs to be removed. She needs to be fired. She needs to never work again. This person is horrible. And, like we need to make a mechanism to punish people who do stuff like this. And so this judge, there needs to be a movement to get rid of her. You know, I
Let
just
me can
yeah,
I interject just for a second?
sure,
Interesting enough that she has a very good relationship with the chief of police.
right.
They are deltas.
Wait, is
No,
Jack
she's not.
here?
Dr. Tachi's not here.
Okay, because
But because I did see. Oh, so Big Brad Dad says, so they give my daughter 14 years for drug charges and a murderer 10 years? I don't get it.
makes no sense.
Makes none.
It's
Makes
horrible.
it it, it,
10
it
years.
does.
And she's not doing 10 years.
No way. No way. And I know that if she gets out early, they're going to keep that very much under the wraps.
Yeah. It's gonna be buried. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It,
But
it's it's interesting how they prioritize crimes, you know, and how there's a whole thing put in place to protect police officers when they do these certain things. And this wasn't even on duty. This wasn't even like something
yes.
that was done on duty.
Yep.
Even when you kill someone off duty in a they're still going to protect you. That's ridiculous.
Well, I think it's another conversation we should have. Um, so, a gentleman who's been on the Dr. Vibe show a lot, his name LaRon Barton.
Hmm.
He made a comment a while back saying that he feels that the police are the most organized and biggest gang in North America.
Yes. And they have power, like, the police unions are, the police unions are very strong. And, they're supporting Trump, of course. And they're to the point where the mayor can't fight them. The mayor kowtows. I'm talking about just about everywhere. And they're just too strong. And there's no oversight. There's really no oversight.
And with this story at all, have you had conversations with anyone in your
Oh,
circle?
yes.
And what are their reactions?
discuss. Even it's so funny. I some would say I'm militant, right? And so you could almost expect how I'm going to feel about it. Even the ones that, like people I know who are not really, who are kind of like just like whatever, you know. I mean, just like they have the attitude like, oh well, it's the mere bag of shells, like that kind of thing. Um, Even they were disgusted, like even the ones that are not, as quote unquote militant as I, felt disgust and just disbelief. And my thing is, it's never disbelief. And it's interesting when you have a mindset such as myself, like Trump being president, not surprising. This thing happening, it's not surprising. When I hear people who say, this is so surprising, I can't believe it. It's like, what planet do you live in? Like, it's not surprising at all. Why is it like I'm not a psychic or anything. This is how business is. This is how business gets done, and people live their head in the sand until something happens in which they are made to feel like like they'll have their wake up call, their wake up moment. And it's just interesting how some people just don't, they until something happens where they really see it, then it's like, oh wow, this is affecting me. So
So I've been able to pull up the video of Judge Tammy Kemp.
okay, let's do that.
No, this isn't them. Well, this is embracing the family. I don't know if this contains the embracing of Botham John's. No, I don't know if. Sorry, folks. I'm just taking a quick look. That's Judge Tammy. No, I have. I'll keep on looking for it, but she has taken she has taken some heat also. But again, I've been watching some other commentary, and then when I found out that the judge and the chief of police are sort of like tight, that throws a whole nother layer on this conversation.
Yeah, and then I know there's some people in sororities and fraternities, Greek especially, and no disrespect to them, but the great Steve Coakley talks about the great Steve Coakley talks about their relationship in our community and some of the things. So I don't know if you are aware of Steve Coakley and his work. But,
Okay, I am. I do have the video ready to go now, so folks will put it on here.
Jose.
Okay, so there is the judge hugging the members of the family. I think that's Botham John's mother that she's hugging right now. So I'm just giving a play-by-play for those who are either going to watch this on the replay or those who are listening via audio or or listening via replay. Obviously, you can't see it, so I'm giving a play-by-play. And let me just see if I can. Oh, okay. So here we are. She's talking to Amber Geiger. And she's giving her some words of encouragement. Yeah, there's the hug. So let me ask people live on the replay, when have you seen a murder trial where the convicted gets hugged by a
I've never seen it. To be honest with you, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I've never seen it. And this is definitely not a good place to break new ground in that regard. Okay. So, and I've seen young men and women who, get harsh sentences, and there's no, it's just lock away, throw away the key, nothing, you know what I'm saying? And for this person who's a murderer who does not show any remorse or has never admitted to her crime, there's no hugging for that, you know? So, yeah.
Just want to greet Mosaic Star. Thank you so much for dropping in.
Big
Again,
shout out to Mosaic. She's a wonderful person from back in the Blab days. Uh,
oh,
yeah,
wow.
I
Okay.
love her dearly. She's a sweet and wonderful person.
Well, Mosaic,
From
thanks for
Flint,
stopping.
too, by the way. She's from Flint, Michigan.
Flint, well, another interesting city.
Right, right. We need to do a conversation on that, right?
Yeah, we need. You know what? Actually, I just thought about it. One of the a recent lady that I had on the conversation named Sean N. Murray. She is very involved in a foundation about providing healthy, clean water to people of color, especially younger people of color. And I think she has some involvement in Flint. And actually, she has an interesting background. Her grand aunt was one of the co-founders of Motown.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Oh,
So
wow.
I will yeah, she's involved with a number of different causes, and I know that's one of them, the ARIA Foundation about clean water. So I will reach out to her and see if she can come on with both of us
And,
and do a.
and I know this is not the topic of the show, but it is something that's just, I have to say this. Like right now, we're going through an election, right?
So are we.
And right, right. And we have a lot of people running for the Democratic ticket, right? And my thing is this, is if you can't say that you will provide clean water for an American city in a swing state, no less, why should I vote for you? If that's not one of your main things that you're going to fix, why should I vote for you?
It brings, and we'll get back into the main conversation, but I think it brings up a good conversation topic at another time about what are we looking for from melanated people in office,
Right. Oh,
right?
I got a lot to say about that.
So folks who are watching this live or and listen to this live or listening or watching on the replay, that will be our next conversation topic. Here in Canada, we're having a national election. Actually, the voting is on the 21st, which is Monday coming up. And I was having a conversation with a fellow colleague today, and what he's noticing is more and more melanated millennials getting involved in the political process.
Right.
So it go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. And I know you guys are rooting for your black prime minister to get reelected,
Ah,
right?
stop. Well, you know what? From what it's saying right now, it doesn't look like he's going to win a majority.
Uh,
So he's hoping to get a minority government with the NDP, which is a center left party.
mm,
But if the conservatives get a majority, he done.
mm. Oh
He
wow.
done. He done. He done. He finished. But that's politics. That's going to be for another conversation. Let's get back to the
Mhm.
hugging stuff. What do you feel like? To me, when I saw this story, I'm going, what is going on with the state of race in America? Like, it's. I don't. I'm just going, wow, wow. Like I heard some commentary saying, Why are they hugging the oppressor?
Right. You know, some people are so disconnected from reality that they don't understand. Like, I wonder, the brother and the family, do they understand what's really going on? Do they understand? Or then again, you don't know. Did the city make promises that if you act in this certain way, we'll break you off some money? Because I'm sure they have a suit that's going to be going as well. So maybe that's a part of it. So I don't know, but it's really sad though, because it's like your brother is dead, and that's how you act. And he was murdered. It's like you can't even act right then. What can you say?
Hmm. Well, we've got some people watching here still. We got Danny. We've got Happy Work Weekend, Brad. Uh, what do you like? I think Happy Work Week said she wouldn't have done the hug thing. Danny, would you hug? Brad, would you hug? Like, I'd really like to get others' opinions on, would you have done any hugging? Well, look who's here. Well, Brad says no. Melvin Lars, what is going on? Well, he was in and out. He's back in. Jumping in, Mr. Lars. We'd love to get your take about the Amber Geiger. Like I said, there's so many complexities to that. Like I can't wait for the movie.
Yeah. Oh man.
Hey,
I'm not gonna
welcome.
hug her anyway.
What is up?
I am a hugger. I love I love to hug people. That's one of the ways I show love to everybody, but not the person that murdered my brother.
Hey,
Do
Ryan,
you
how you
think you think if somebody murdered Ryan, I'd be hugging him?
Good to see you. The next question, the first question I'm going to ask you.
Yep.
How's
How's
he
my
doing?
son?
You better believe it. How's he doing?
Oh, he's doing good. He's doing really good. He is eating me out of house and home. Look how big he is.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
What?
He's huge.
Hi.
Are you ready to look up to him one day?
Well, you know what? He's there's Gunny in him, and there's a lot of tall men on his mom's side, so that's not too far fetched.
Oh, good stuff. Ryan,
Yes.
thoughts on the Amber Geiger trial, if you have any.
Oh, my phone died.
It's okay. Uh-oh. I think we lost him. Yeah, his phone died.
I wonder how the family dynamic was.
So what I'm gonna do is I will just okay, and you know what's gonna happen? Okay,
All right.
and that. Why can't Ryan's somehow in the room, though he's not on. Look at that picture. Well, there we go. So,
I know, man. Yeah, that's a nice picture, huh?
it is a serious picture, man.
Yeah.
That is a dude picture.
Mm-hmm.
The nice fade. Oh, check it out, man. Check it out. So yeah, getting back to the conversation here. Brad says no. He says he's not a hugger anyways. Melvin Lars, if you're able to cam up, we'd love to have you come in. Your thoughts on the Amber Geiger, because especially where you live in Louisiana, I'm sure there's been some commentary about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling Melvin could probably talk about cases that he's heard similar to that in his time. But
Yeah, I'm a like I said, I'm a lover of people. I want to see the best for people, but not someone that does harm to my family.
okay, so then what sentence do you feel she should have got?
She should have got a life sentence. She murdered somebody in cold blood in their own home. She shouldn't be getting out ever. Like, you don't walk into someone's house and murder them and go, oops. That makes absolutely no sense. You think if he had walked into her house by accident,
Exactly. Well, we don't have to go there.
right? So why should she get special treatment and get hugs on the way to jail? Like, no, she should do hard time, and it should be for the rest of her life. And she should, and she's gonna get out and she's gonna live her life, and then she's probably gonna write a book about and make money off of it. So I'm sure that she's probably gotten like a lot of people don't know this. The Rodney King cops,
Yep.
when they got out of jail, they were millionaires because people had sent them millions of dollars.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So
The phone is good now.
Yes. How's it going?
Good. We're glad to have you back. What are your thoughts on the Amber Geiger trial, man?
It's very upsetting. I was following it, and we know that she was a known racist. I think that there was a culture in her police department of racism, and but the one thing that I feel is that even Black people are often quite forgiving, and we saw that in the trial. Of the forgiveness, that the power of forgiveness that we have. However, when it comes to mercy for people within our community, we don't really get that mercy. And, it's a tragedy that the judge, I feel it's a tragedy that a judge went and hugged her and, gave her a Bible. I think that there were some grounds that were, some grounds that were crossed that I don't think I would have done if I was in that position. They murdered him. Dr. Vibe, like, I can't help. I was just telling someone the other day that even though I live in Calgary, I don't want to drive my car at night. I don't want to go to the grocery store without other people being present. I'm so conscious about my anxiety about being a Black man that you get afraid. My neighbor went away for a couple of weeks, and his bike got stolen. First thing he comes up to me, he says, "My bike got stolen." I don't, you get this anxiety. You don't even know, you feel like you did it, even though you didn't do it. And I don't think that people realize like how stressful it is to be Black. A lot of people are scared of us, but we should be the ones that are scared. And the fact of the matter is, someone walks in your home, doesn't even give you the chance to have due process, and kills you. I think, police, judge should not be consoling that person. That's up to their family and whatnot to do. I think that there needs to be a precedent that is set here that, we need to talk about race, and we need to educate our officers in our department on how to deal with different cultures. I think that I think at this day and age, there needs to be some conversations, and it can't be from the Black community. I think that in the white community, I think that they need to start talking to themselves and asking them if it's okay to kill people, because it's not even just this trial, Dr. Vibe. It's the woman that got killed.
Yes, yeah. I was going to bring that up. Atilia, just in the last week or so, the same thing happened, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I have, remember I would talk about my mentors, Dr. Vibe. I just wanted to introduce one of my mentors. She's staying with me for a couple of weeks, but this is Ann Fitz.
How you doing?
Hey, Ann.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, she's done a lot for Black community here in Calgary with her husband. That's from Chicago. I think. And he's, he used to, I don't know if I mentioned that he used to be the band leader. Wait, what did he do with Motown again?
He was the band leader for Motown for many years, and now he's back with them, with the Funk Brothers.
Wow.
But he's always been a community activist. He was trained by Dr. Martin Luther King himself.
What?
Wow.
Okay. Motown's coming up in this conversation a lot. That's a good thing.
So I just wanted, Dr. Vine is, I just wanted to introduce you guys to.
Well, look, we need every ally we can get.
Right. And the basis is we have to educate people of my color first.
Amen.
We're the cause of it, not you.
Amen.
Wow. Good stuff. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. That's fantastic. Yeah, I wonder what would have happened in this trial if it was a Black male that killed another Black male.
If he was a police officer that did that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
he would have got what he like, because there's cases where black cops recently of who they said that it was an accident or whatever, murdered people, and they go straight to jail. It isn't all this, well, let's wait and see and all of that. My favorite, we'll wait and see, you know,
Mhm.
and there's videotape of it, but we need to wait and see,
Mhm.
like, what are we waiting for?
There seems to be a pain threshold that there's this perceived pain threshold that black men seem to be able to have. I think we can endure more pain and we can endure more punishment. So had it been the roles reversed, I mean, we would have been, in jail for, 400 years or 600 years, double life or triple life, because is, with a young woman, she's a young woman. I think she was, I don't know, she was in her 30s.
Yes.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if I went into her house and killed her, and, the sympathy that would be given to me? I just think that for 10 years, and then, what was the guy's name that died? The guy that testified.
Right, the witness, yeah.
Can't remember his name. I'll pull it up soon though.
Right.
But also just want to bring the hammer is here.
Yeah.
Melvin Lars is here. The hammer is here. Watch out, everybody. The hammer is here. Can't hear you, Melvin, though. Can't hear you. Yeah, he's been having some challenges audio-wise over the last few weeks. So that's all right. But we want to make sure that Melvin gets in because he will give his take from the deep south, which I have
From
a
the
feeling.
deep south, yeah.
Yeah, from Louisiana, and I'm sure that he'll be able to give us some. Melvin?
Can you hear me, Doc?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We're ready for you. You put the glasses on, so I got my armor on.
How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Outstanding, man. Outstanding.
Well, Doc, you know what? Be here. Brother Ryan, haven't met you, sir, but how are you?
I'm doing good, my brother. How are you doing?
Listen, man, I cannot complain. I'm just happy I caught you guys earlier. I came on earlier looking for you, Doc, and you guys weren't on yet, and I thought I had missed you. So Kinte sent out a notice, and I happened to look up and I saw Kinte's notice. I said, "Oh, okay, let me join these gentlemen." So thank you for that, Kinte.
All right.
But Doc, may I answer your question?
No, you can get answered any way you want.
Sadly, I tell people about growing up in the Jim Crow South. This is a way of life in this area, and people do not want to accept that, and they keep trying to make excuses for it. But I think I said to you guys once before, I love watching Westerns, and if you watch the Westerns, unfortunately, our less melanated brothers are accustomed to murdering people, from hanging people for something, talk about cattle rustling, they try to hang people. If you're a horse thief, they try to hang people. If there's a culture of murder in this country, particularly in the Jim Crow South. So when you murder people of color, I mean, it's really no big deal. And being a diversity trainer myself, and I hear people say, our less melanated people need to be talked to. They need to have the conversation. No, they understand quite well what they're doing, quite well, because most people, especially in the Bible Belt of the Jim Crow South, are just that, Bible thumping, Bible reading Christians, or so they say. Now, two things are very simple. Treat others as you wish to be treated. Who needs to have that explained to them? Second, God has no respecter of person. Who needs to have that explained to them? Thirdly, you are your brother's keeper. Who needs to have that explained to them? So when we make these excuses for people murdering people because they choose to, then all we do is empower the perpetrator. You don't just, and I heard Kinte, I think, was saying when I was trying to get on, how you walk in somebody's house and kill them, talking about oops, and then you have this melanated judge hugging a woman and giving her, but that is atrocious. It is sad, but what you guys will find when you have so many enslaved people mentally, she thought that was okay. Oh Lord, let me hug Becky. Becky, wow. But she never thought about hugging the family of the man who lost his life. But she wanted to hug Becky and give Becky a Bible.
Okay, so just let me interrupt. She did hug the family before she hugged Amber Geiger. She did hug that family.
I must have missed that one.
No, she
But
Yeah, she did.
Before she hugged Amber Geiger, she hugged the family. She did do that.
wow, well, you know what? I missed that, and that's even worse now, Dr. Vibe. I'm glad you told me. Why would you hug a murderer? You are an officer of the court. So you go and hug the perpetrator, and you got tears in your eyes. So what does that tell human beings? Is that as long, you know what? When you guys get an opportunity, look up the Black Code, and because what the Black Code talks about, one thing it talks about is how slave owners and people that quote owned you could murder you and not be guilty because they were government officials and they worked for you. So the police department in 2019 still works primarily the same way. When we hear attorneys come on and talk about where he or she was in her scope, or he or she didn't do anything wrong, they're referring to the Black Codes because you are a quote and somewhat a government official. So even though you murdered somebody, you're okay. And nobody wants to talk about that. So, living here in this area and then seeing the cop in Fort Worth go and shoot this woman through her head in her own house. You outside, man. And talking about you saw she was pointing a gun at the window. You're outside. It's a brick house. Step out of the way if you thought that. So it is nothing but a cover up. And it's been going that way for so long in the Jim Crow South. And people just continue to make excuses for it.
Okay.
Sorry, but that's the truth.
No. Just want to shout out to Dante and So Steph. Welcome. So Melvin, what should have happened to that lady police officer?
Just as it should have happened to any John Q. citizen that commits cold-blooded murder, she should have been convicted life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Usually they say you have to spend at least 25 years even before anyone will even discuss that. She might do a year, two at the most, and then she'll be quietly sent someplace else or quietly move someplace to get another job. Or with 45 sitting in the White House, she will probably have her sentence wiped away.
Pardon.
Yes.
And also too, with the way that the Supreme Court is now loaded conservative, I could see that appeal could go right up to the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. But see, Doc and gentlemen, that's what I say to people without being sarcastic. Follow the history. All of this stand your rule law and all of this stuff, why doesn't it work for people of color? When you have a guy that can murder Trayvon Martin and run around the country signing Skittles bags, having his face plastered all over Facebook and things like that, and people think it's funny. And I think Kinte alluded to the Rodney King gentlemen who are millionaires. So what does that say? That's what bothers me, gentlemen, about people of color. It's like, what about black on black crime? That's two different things. Crime is crime. So does that negate my responsibility not to murder because I didn't murder a person of less melanation, which is exactly what they're saying. Okay, so you're upset because he murdered somebody that was black. No, I'm upset because he murdered somebody, period. Or she murdered somebody, period. But you have to be careful not to let people give you the smoke and mirrors because they want to change the narrative. So now they try to make you feel guilty for something that someone else did. And that's what people of color get duped into so many times. Kind of like, oh, well, I guess you're not right. You're not right. She murdered the man in his apartment. The cop is outside in the yard. You call because someone thinks maybe someone's in a woman's house. So why would you shoot in her house through a window? But then try to make an excuse about some gun, and the level in which they insult our intelligence is just laughable. Sorry.
No, don't sorry at all. That's good stuff. That is really good stuff. Anyone want to add on to what Melvin has just shared with us?
No, I mean, you're 100% right, Melvin. And as I was saying, and I guess I'll reiterate because new people in the room, if someone murders me, y'all better not forgive them. I just want to make that clear. I'm not forgiving. It's definitely of my own murder. But it's just sickening. And the way I really believe that they are testing what we will put up with, talking about the
Absolutely.
Black community. So they do it incrementally. And now they're like, oh, well, we can just send somebody into your church and murder everybody and y'all gonna just hug them. Somebody can walk into your apartment and shoot them and you're just gonna hug. Well, it's only gonna get worse and worse, which it has been. And until Black people don't have a power base, we don't have the will to protect our own communities. As Black men, we don't protect our Black women as well. And that stuff leads to our community not being strong. You're not going to go in the Asian community and do that. You're not going to do in some of these other communities and do that. And we have to start taking pride in protecting our communities. And we have to form our own militias in our community. Now I believe it's in Dallas, they have the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. I don't know if you heard of them. These are brothers who walk the streets protecting the community. And we really need to get to that. If you go back to the civil rights movement, they don't tell you that they were armed and ready to protect, and then there was this relationship between the Black underworld and the civil rights movement where there was protection, and we need to get back to that overall protection and saying that, it's not going to happen. Not on our watch. You're not going to come and just murder us with impunity. This is not going to happen. We're not going to stand for it. We're not going to be sidetracked by whatever stupid internet thing that comes out. You notice how after something like this happens and there's some sort of stupid internet thing that now all of a sudden that's what we're focused on, some crazy dance or some, or something like that. It's like, we got to stop going for the banana in the tailpipe.
Well put. Anyone wanted to add to that? I see nodding of heads. Anyone? So then what is it going to take for melanated people to get to where Kinte says they need to be?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes.
Right. Popeyes, yeah. Like, how much noise about that stuff? Really?
Can I just say something as a side note for that?
No, it's a main note, not a side note.
That was one of the most dumbest things, and it was actually embarrassing. It was flat out embarrassing, that whole chicken sandwich.
It was.
And I'm sitting there like, what? We're chicken? Seriously?
Sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think they don't even sell them no more, right? So what did they make them just to? We got to quail these Negroes. Like we got to pull this rabbit out the hat. Because I don't even think they sell them anymore, right?
Well,
it was just that period of time.
I think that I don't look at it as negatively because what I'm noticing with my efforts online is that Black people are dictating culture, and we don't really understand the power of our own. We don't even understand the equity of our voices and our experiences, whether it's Popeye's chicken or whether it's talking about Black Lives Matter, or whether it's talking about politics, economics. A lot of these conversations are being dominated by especially Black women. And that I've verified that research in the last few weeks. And what I'm saying is that, whether it's something that may be embarrassing to some, or maybe that it's more progressive or enlightening, we're still dictating the culture, and we need to start valuing ourselves, our voices, our culture, and our experience. And we also need to understand that we need to start thinking about ownership. You know, we need to own these apartment complexes that these men are, you know, that where we're staying. We need to own stores. We need to own property so that we can have more power, more say in what happens within our communities, because we don't have anything. Therefore, we don't have clout. We don't have leverage. And that's the problem.
I think what a number of melanated people need to realize is we don't live in a democracy. We live in a capitalistic system. Right? Because protests ain't going to get you anywhere.
No.
Protest is supposed to be the jumping off point.
Yeah, but people think that's the be all and end all.
Right.
But you're protesting on streets that aren't owned by you. You're protesting in parks that are not owned by you. You're protesting in spaces that you have no control over, where the people who own it say, you can't be here. If they really wanted to say, you can't be here. You don't have we don't want to give you a permit.
A good question, a good conversation to have, and Melvin, I would hope you would join this, is, and I've been wanting to do this conversation, is, you know, the Black community is primarily Christian, right? And is there a disconnect between Black people practicing Christianity and freedom? And I feel like that's a conversation that really needs to be had. Now, in other communities, their religion doesn't deflect what they need to do to to support their community. So are we practicing wrong? Is there some kind of, you know, like it's a great conversation to have. How do you have freedom and because I really believe religion, if you look out through the history of our people, we've always had a strong base when it comes to religion, right? Spirituality, all of that, going to Africa and beyond. But why is it that it seems like for us, religion seems to be a hindrance in some ways to really going for what we need to as far as freedom?
Just to add on, So Steph says, I keep telling you that equality and capitalism cannot coexist. And you have mentioned that before, and I'm taking it down. We are going to do that as a conversation piece. It has. I think it's a very important conversation that equality and capitalism can't coexist.
Right.
Because capitalism needs that lower class to be fed, to feed from, basically, let alone not just food wise, but money wise, economic wise, political wise, etc. Mosaic Star saying it's better to be bought out than pushed out. I agree. I'd rather be, how can I say? I used to say I'd rather be at the table than on the table, but now I want to build my own table.
Right. Or as I say, I'd rather be the green light than waiting for a green light.
Exactly. Ryan is back with us. I think, and people say, well, you've veered off into another topic, but no, this has very much relationship to what goes on in the courtrooms. What goes on with the justice system. They're correlated. Melvin, go ahead.
But you know, guys, if as we talk about what goes on in the courtroom and also what our friend Kinte is saying is that people cherry pick religion all of the time. And all of the stuff about, and there's a verse I can't think right now, I'm having a senior moment, but when it said, pray for those that despitefully use you. So we take that out of context. It doesn't mean to become a floor mat. You know, people say, well, if he slaps this cheek, turn the other cheek. I am. As I'm swinging back, as I'm slapping back, the other cheek will be turned, but it will not be turned to receive punishment. So we have to be very careful with that as people, because we don't know who we are. We constantly apologize for being disenfranchised and being mistreated. We don't have to look no further than our own living rooms. We don't have to look any further than with Colin Kaepernick. People start being angry with Colin Kaepernick because he was trying to enlighten them. Okay, we have this. So somebody, you know, and he has it right. If you pull right now, as an old athlete, You pull these black boys out of these white colleges and off these NFL teams, you'll stop 90% of this foolishness right now, because they understand capital, they understand money.
Right.
These guys are making these guys trillionaires because people are looking for entertainment, and the athletes of color, as it appears, are the far superior athletes. So people cheer and clap in one hand and call you the N word with the next voice. But what do? We vilify Kaepernick instead of embracing the fact that, yeah, black men are being shot down every day, almost every day. People are being murdered almost every day.
Black women.
And black women, yes, and black women. So what do we do as a people? Then we criticize Kaepernick. Well, maybe he should have done it. He should. No. When is time to say to people, I'm not a doormat. Stop wiping your feet on me. I'm not having it anymore. I'm not taking it. So we have seen an entire history of this whole craziness. And again, Dr. Vibe, let me say this very quickly. And I'm going to continue to go on record to say this. When I was a young boy, Jim Brown, you couldn't have put another person in front of me that I admired more than Jim Brown because of his stance. And for you to make a complete 180 and go against everything that you say you believed in, and you yourself criticize Kaepernick and talk about, I wouldn't disrespect my flag and all this kind of craziness, when it had nothing to do with that. All of us understood and understand very clearly that it had nothing to do with the flag. It was simply about all these murders, and everybody know that, but they keep trying to have conversations around that instead of coming to the crux of what's happening. So as Kinte was talking about Christianity and that kind of thing, is that we allow ourselves to be brainwashed to say, we all say that we're Christians, but the other Christian who's less melanated can do whatever he wants to me. Then I, being a Christian, am supposed to allow him to do that. That's insanity, is what that is.
Right, because KKK members are Christian as well, and
Yeah.
but when, for a lot of us, our Christian faith makes us docile in a way, and I don't want to get too much into it because I feel like that should be a whole conversation.
It will be. I got the notes on it. But just so Steph is dropping knowledge bombs as always. She's the greatest contributor without being on screen when it comes to my conversations. She says the main problem within the Black American community is that a sense of identity is newly formed, and when something is new, there are a lot of things that need to be ironed out. For blacks from the Caribbean, Africa, etc., their culture is solidified in a way that American Black people haven't been able to, because of white dominance from a cultural sense. I don't know about that last part. I don't know, but that's a conversation piece itself. Melvin and Ryan, you came on later. What are your thoughts about the whole NBA and China?
Wait, real quick, can I say something to what she said? Right. I think I understand what she's saying, because you guys are both from, y'all have Jamaican ancestry. No, I'm sorry, you do, and he's from Trinidad, right?
I believe so.
And so I think I understand what she's trying to say with that, is that in a lot of ways, African American blacks, well, African Americans are missing that kind of cultural thing, that because a lot of ours is linked to this place, whereas
America,
right.
Yeah.
So I understand what she's saying when it comes to that. But like with any group, we have our issues. So, and same thing with you guys as well.
Well, and that brings up another conversation piece. Are African Americans more African or American?
Right. And you guys have your flag, like
or neither.
Yeah, you see, like she said, we really have nowhere to look. So, like, our flag is United States of America. You have your Trinidad flag. You have your Jamaican flag. Even though I would say that I have the Marcus Garvey flag, so is my flag. But
The problem.
That's good.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. All I'm going to say about that is that I live in Calgary, Alberta, where there are multiple cultures and subcultures. I have to say that, I think the Black community in general is highly fragmented, and a lot of division. There's so many things dividing us. You think of William Lynch Manifesto. There's so many different layers of division, and it's really hard to really find some way of solidifying a group of people that are so diverse, right? I don't think that there's a lot of unity in Trinidadian culture. I mean, you're talking about Trinidad and a lot of these Caribbean islands that are, former British colonies. And I think
Right.
worse when it comes to identity. I think we still want to be, ruled by the Queen in some respects, So honest to God, I think people preach about freedom and independence, but, when it comes down to it, we're not as progressive, especially in Canada, when it comes to race.
Well, see, I'm going to jump in here because it's always interesting when I hear people talk about Black community, and I say, "Where's that?"
Right.
Because I think there are more silos than communities.
Mhm.
Just a thought. Well, we're going to start.
No, I concur. I concur. If we look at our history, the whole slave trade, it was orchestrated. They would get, quote, tribes from various areas to create that divide because of the difference in language and the whole nine. They would not do large concentrations of the same tribes in various areas. So they would mix 3, 4, 5, 6 different tribes, especially coming to the Americas. Now, I should study the whole history, but especially coming to the Americas. So there is a lot to be said that is not for the conversation for tonight.
Right.
But even though we are African, we have a lot of diversity within ourselves. And I think that some of you guys have said that already, possibly before I arrived. So that's another conversation for another time.
Don't worry, I'm typing down all the conversation.
And also, as a side note, not every Black person or African came here through the slave trade. There was plenty of Black people that were here pre-Columbus. So, and they weren't all, that's why we have pyramids here.
Well,
yeah.
We're going to start winding it down, but I'm going to ask Ryan and Melvin your thoughts on the whole NBA and China controversy, and also the pushback a lot of people are giving LeBron James. So who wants to go first on the NBA, China, and LeBron? I'll let Melvin go first.
Well, actually, Melvin hadn't been following that very closely. I saw some excerpts, but I haven't followed it very closely, so I don't even know if I can speak intelligently to that whole conversation.
All right. Ryan, anything you have to say on that one?
I'm the same as Melvin. I've seen excerpts. I've heard people talk about censorship, etc. But I don't think I know the subject well enough to be able to weigh in intelligently.
No problem. I just wanted to put it out there
Well,
to make sure.
I'll say this once again. There's some new people here. Is Hong Kong ain't never said nothing about Black people, so why would I care? To be honest with you, that's their fight. We got our fight. So I'm not saying that I'm, more power to them. And what China's done raping Africa, miss me with that. So if LeBron has nothing to say about it, I'm with him on that, because more power to him. But Black people getting murdered in they apartments. You know what I'm saying? And the judges is hugging the murderer. We worried about Hong Kong? Seriously? Miss me with that.
Okay. Well, on that note, we are going to end it off. The first of many conversations myself and Mr. Kinte are going to be hosting. The series is called Black Men from North of the 49th and Black Men from South of the 49th. So, and again, the reason why we're calling that, the 49th parallel divides Canada and the U.S. I'm north of it in Toronto, Kinte's south of it in Cali. So I'd like to say thanks for everyone who tuned in. Thanks for hanging for all the technical challenges. We started on one stream and we had to go to another stream, but thank you for hanging in there. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. So first things first, Melvin, if people want to find out more information about you, where can they go?
Thank you, Dr. Vibe. If they want to find more information about me, if you go to www.dyingonmyfeet.com, once you arrive, you'll find all of my social media sites there. Look forward to meeting some of you guys.
Excellent. Mr. Ryan.
Yes, you guys can find me. I have two businesses. You can, if you're looking for marketing services, you can go to www.bowtiecreative.com for your marketing. Or you can follow me on Instagram. I have an account devoted to Black history and excellence. It's called Hustle Zone TV. It's booming. We get followers every day. We get more engagement than Kim Kardashian and any of the celebrities combined. You know, there is
without collagen, without any enhancement?
Without any breast implants, without plastic surgery, without getting dirty, down and dirty. So, all we do is post excellence, and literally every single day we get more than 1,000 likes because it's something that the Black community wants to see. They want to see excellence, and doesn't matter what community you're from. And I feel like promoting history and excellence unite us. So we're leading that charge, and hopefully we can develop this into something a little bit more substantial.
Wonderful. Brother Kinte, big ups for you for joining me in tonight, and looking forward to continuing the journey with you. How can people touch base with
Before
you?
I say that, can I take a moment to recognize the two men that are in this chat?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna start off with Ryan. Ryan, I'm just so proud of what this dude is doing. I mean, I remember when he first started talking about it. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about. And then it just, blossomed so well. And I'm just like so amazing. And I'm not surprised because he's a hard worker, and his brother, he really does his thing. And if you guys are not aware, I'm going to reiterate once again, check out what this brother's doing. It is so amazing. And, he has the secret sauce. So, I'm not saying he's going to give it to you, but he definitely has it. So definitely check out what Ryan's doing. And I probably sound like Melvin's PR person, and he don't even know this, Melvin, but every chance I get, I love to talk about what you're doing. And I hate that normally on Fridays I'm either working or something is going on, but this man's program is nothing short of amazing. He has some of the best guests you're going to ever see. And I mean, you just had Billy White Shoes Johnson, right, on your show, right? Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow at 12 noon. It's 12 noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so that's 10 my time. Okay, that's pretty early. I might be in the car watching it. But you look, I know I sound like a broken record. If you are not aware of Brother Melvin, if you're not subscribed to his channel, please make sure you do. You will not be disappointed. This man has wonderful guests, very insightful. I just love your program, and I am a big fan of your work, sir. So definitely check this brother out. He it's an embarrassing that how much, like, I want so much for people to really understand how great your work is, and I'm so happy for you. And like I said, anything I can do to help support any of you, please let me know. You can find me at Kinte F on Twitter, Kinte Ferguson on Instagram, and of course, the website is indyradio.org. That's indyradio.org.
That is fantastic. I will just add on to another layer of pancakes that Kinte's put on there. I remember the first time I met Ryan on another platform. never forget that conversation. And I add on, they're just very proud. And I know most importantly, the most important thing to Ryan is his son.
Yeah.
So that to me is the number one thing. Melvin also, um, I can both say with both of them, I knew you win. So it's good to see Melvin, my mentor. Very happy to see. What are you doing?
You are my mentor.
I am just a guy, man. I'm just a guy, but very happy for all the wonderful stuff that all three of you gentlemen are creating. And I can only say, don't quit.
Too legit to
That's it.
quit. In the words of the
Yeah,
great
exactly.
prophet
Right.
MC Hammer.
You got it. I'd like to thank everyone that's still on here. Happy work week, Brad, Dante, So Steph, Danny was on earlier. Some other people are on. Lokesh was on earlier on. So big shout out to Lokesh, the IT guy from Get Vocal. Thank goodness he lives in Toronto. and also Tiffany Rochelle and Ahmed Hazel Jr., our senior, on the Facebook Live. As always, if you want to touch base with me, the best place to be is the drvibeshow.com. As always, you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles. You're a solution for someone's problem. Then we have live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger, block assumptions, and then finally, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Follow everyone you see on this screen, please and thank you. And Kent and I will have more epic conversations coming up very soon with some of the topics that were brought up here tonight that we didn't get a chance to expand on. God bless. Peace and well. Good night, everyone.